Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's speed build, we're going to be building a country estate in Windenburg. I'm going to be very honest here, I don't actually like the way this house turned out. Like, okay, there's some parts of this house that I enjoyed, and then there's other parts of this house that I completely hated, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, this is a very perfect house, it's very much enjoyable, because it's not. Okay, it doesn't look very nice on the outside, but, you know, maybe there's somebody out there that, like, enjoyed it, that likes the look of it, you know? And if they don't, well, I'm sorry. I guess I was just having a bit of an off day. Yeah. But this is another house that I'd seen on Pinterest. This is the other house that I'd mentioned building on Friday. And yeah, like I just said, it looks a lot better in the original picture in real life, believe me. Like, it just looks a lot better. I don't know what else to say. I think, okay, probably the reason I don't like this house is just because it stressed me out beyond belief. It did stress me out a lot. Like, just a lot. Like, I used platforms in this house rather than foundation, and that meant I had to keep lowering down platforms and then raising them up just to sort of match the floor levels. So that was annoying, very, very annoying. And then it got annoying with creating the foyer entryway. But I'll get to talking about that when we get to looking at what happens with that. Yeah. I'm just sort of putting doors right now, just to sort of, like I said, tweaking the floor level. I tweak it way too much. And I think maybe in the end it would have just been better to use a foundation. But stupid me decided I'm going to use a platform in case I decide to put a basement in to see how. Because I don't like using foundations and basements together because it makes the landscape look weird. And I haven't tested how platforms and basements look together, but I'm planning to use platforms again on Wednesday because I think I have an idea for Wednesday's build is maybe to build like a sort of underground bar, sort of like a karaoke kind of bar. Because I look at the karaoke bars in San Myshuno and they look quite horrible. Or at least some of them do. I don't mind the one that's in sort of the uptown area, but the one that's in like the downtown Spicy district just looks horrible. So I'm gonna rebuild it. I'm gonna make like a sort of townhouse and then like the karaoke thing underneath. And I plan to use platforms with that just to see if it looks a little bit better. But we'll see. That, just you talking about the foyer right now, I cut a lot of the footage out because otherwise you would have seen me struggle with it for about 5 minutes. Just because it just wasn't working out the way I wanted it to. Like, I'd imagined, like, sort of putting the fence around and then deleting that part of the floor and then deleting a tiny bit of the fence so you can get upstairs would work, but it just added the floor back, and, like, I decided I'll build a wall to see if it works better with a wall. It didn't work better building a wall around. It just took forever. I think in the end what I did was I'd sort of built the sort of fence, cut out the bit of, and then cut out the entire floor, and then just put walls, just put the floor back, sort of just to leave that little bit out. It took longer than it should have to figure out, and that this is definitely the main cause of the stress. Was just figuring that out, and I will tell myself in future I'm not going to build stuff like that again just because I don't want to stress myself out. So yeah, tip in future, if you do ever decide to do that, definitely see if you can't find an easier way first. Yeah, I changed the windows out just because, like, just ignore why I was using those black frame windows because the original house had black frame windows, like on the picture I was looking at, and yeah, I didn't like the way that they looked, so I switched it out for white frames instead, and it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better. I do like those windows from Discover University. Like, they look very nice, but I don't use them enough, but I certainly will from now on because they look very nice. And yeah, I'm just kind of tweaking with them, sort of raising them up to sort of, so they kind of look like they're all level, but there's probably one somewhere that's off level slightly. But we're just going to leave that, add it to the charm of the house. Now this house, I imagined, is the retirement estate of like an old monarch of Windenburg. Like maybe Windenburg had like a monarchy, like a proper ruling monarchy. Like rather not like in the UK where we've got like a prime minister. We've also got like a queen and stuff, but she's not really ruling the country as much now because we've got prime minister and stuff and a proper government. But yeah, so the Windenburg sort of like that, where they had like a ruling monarchy, and when, you know, they got a lot older and their sort of children and heirs took over, this is kind of where they retired to. So this is essentially where they've retired off to now. And this is sort of their family home where their children grew up and stuff. Like, just an idea I had for this house. And yeah, I put it in. Windenburg's a very beautiful world, and I'm happy that I put it in Windenburg. I was originally going to put it on the Von Horn estate, but I couldn't, like, change the category. Like, it was set as, like, because it's like a special venue type place. I think mainly because, like, the dance parties happen there and stuff, so I couldn't change that. So I got annoyed and I was like, I don't know where I'm going to put it now then. And I thought, okay, I'll just build it in sort of the countryside. So I built it where the Munchers used to live. I evicted them and bulldozed their home and built this on top. And yeah, it's a very nice place for it. I think it's a very good place for it, but I would prefer if I was able to build it on the Von Horn estate, because it would have fit in better there. And something else I'm quite surprised about is I thought the Von Horn estate was going to be like this massive lot size, but it's like a 40 by 30. I thought it was at least like a 50 by 50, but I think that's mainly just because of all of the stuff, all of the sort of set decoration was like sort of just made the lot look bigger than the lot size actually is. Here's me sort of putting in the back garden now. The back garden is one of my favorite parts of this build. Like, this is where a lot of my ideas came through, and I'm very happy with it. I think this probably turned out better than the rest of the build. I had this idea of making like this sort of grand landscaping kind of thing. So I sort of drew out sort of the pattern first. I wanted hedges around this sort of like sculpture or fountain area. I was originally going to use a sculpture, but I thought I'll use a fountain instead. Well, imagine this place used a fountain and then it was overgrown. I quickly switched to the front so I could put stones in. I used the stones from Jungle Adventure. And then moving to the back garden, I set up a little grill area. I copied the cobblestone, sort of put around. I do like the cobblestone, that's the base game cobblestone. And it looks very nice. I don't use cobblestone enough. I think if I ever do use cobblestone, I only ever use the one from Seasons, because that's my favourite one. But the base game one looks just as nice. And yeah, that was a very quick talk about that garden then. Because we're moving on to the inside now. But I decorate the back garden a lot more when we get to that. So I put just a simple entryway here. It's like just put a table, a plant, a chair, like a banner. There's not very much in this sort of entryway. I wanted to make it quite formal in a way. So yeah, because this house has been around for so long, there's barely any sort of modern furniture in it. Like, the only modern pieces of furniture is the computer and the grill. Like, that's it. Moving on to the dining room. It's a very formal dining room. And it's kind of an empty dining room as well. I don't put very much in here because the floor plan just is very weird. So I think I just put the table and chairs in, and then I get the cupboard from Seasons, just like the ones with the plates in. Put a painting up. I use a lot of the very, very expensive paintings. So I'm definitely jacking the price up. I think the ending price in the end was around, I think it was about 118,000 simoleons in the end. So it's a very, very expensive house. But it was, again, it's got a very, very rich backstory in it. So that explains the price. I use the kitchen from Country Kitchen Kit again, the stove and the fridge paired with the cupboards from base game, and that it looks amazing. Like, this is another one of my favorite rooms. It's just because of how nice it turned out in the end. And yeah, that's a modernish looking bin. So that's a little bit of the modern furniture coming in, but it's a bin. So yeah, I don't think you can really argue it's modern. Yeah, just sort of putting clutter around. I was going to put some more modern furniture in, like especially appliances, like a coffee maker and maybe a microwave, just to sort of show like a sort of like a contrast of it being modern and then it being old-fashioned and then some modern pieces coming in. But I decided to go against that. I was going to put that teapot in from the clutter thing from, I think it was base game it came in. I think it was base game that it came in. I completely forgot to get it out. So I was like, okay, we'll just pretend that they've stored it in a cupboard somewhere. So it's a very clean home, and that would be on account of the butler. They've got this house, this family, whoever lived in this house, definitely had a butler, of course, because they were royalty. And the butler has got as big of a bedroom as the rest of the family did, because they enjoy that. They look after the butler a lot, but I'll get more talking about that when we see me decorate that bedroom, which I don't really decorate it. I don't add a lot of personal items with this house, so I would just imagine maybe it's sort of been abandoned now. Sort of, like, nobody really lives here, and if anybody does really live here, they're all old and they don't really want to decorate it very much. So yeah, if you do download this house of the gallery, it's yours to kind of decorate however you like, obviously. This is just sort of the idea that I had in mind of what I wanted the house to look like. As I was looking through to find rugs, I realised that we don't have a very big selection of regal, sort of not really regal but posh looking rugs. Yeah, I use the appliances, the bathroom like stuff from Vampires, because I just wanted some more old-fashioned stuff. So yeah, they all basically look the same. They're all the same bathrooms. A lot of the rooms in this house are pretty much copy-paste. The only real change being I just changed the swatches around so it looks slightly different. This is the office. So again, there's another little bit of modern furniture in there with the computer. I mean, it's not very modern, but it's a computer, so it's modern. You know, it's no like big laptop or anything like that, but it's still a bit modern. And then I put a bust in from that base game. I imagine maybe that's like that's just another piece of art that they found, or maybe it's the bust of the monarch, maybe like the original owner of this house, maybe. I'm not really sure. You can call it whatever you like. I use the beds from Discover University and just in different swatches, and I do my best to match all the wood tones, but I probably didn't do a very good job because I'm not very good at matching wood tones most of the time. Like, if I find a piece of furniture I like, I just put it in a random swatch. So, I did try my best, obviously. So, if you're one of those people that are like, oh my god, the wood tones aren't matching, then I'm very, very sorry. But I'm one of those builders that do my best to match the wood tones, but I will not match the wood tones. So yeah, just kind of going through, sort of making sure I put the same kind of stuff in. All of the bedrooms have a plant. I was going to switch it up, sort of maybe put some like potted plants on like tables and stuff. I just forgot all about that, and I thought it's so much easier to just put like big pots. So yeah, paintings, tons of paintings. There's a lot of art in this house, like a lot of art. But all the paintings that I used really nice, and I don't think I used them enough, so I'll definitely use those a lot more as well. Going on to just sort of put in a basic landing. Another thing I use a lot in this house, and you've definitely noticed it, is bookcases. I put a ton of bookcases in this house, so you're never going to be too far from a bookcase if you need it. Going back into the back garden now, and I'm putting it together, and like I said, this back garden is definitely my favorite part of this house. Just alone from that big landscaping thing I designed in the middle, and I sort of put some areas in that I think you'll enjoy. Like, I put like a chess table outside, and I put like a little place to create a garden. I put a seating area in that other corner. I change it around, like you'll see as I'm putting it together now. I put the landscaping in, that doesn't change. I put a tree stump in, sort of like the tree stump table thing from Outdoor Retreat. It still stays by the way, I just move it to a different position. But I put it where I put it first. And then after a little thinking, after a little look, I decided, okay, I'm going to put another like statue thing from Romantic Garden, which I have to say I don't use it enough, and that is a crime, and I'm sorry for that. Outdoor Romantic Garden has some very beautiful like statues, and I don't use them enough. Like that arch statue that you just saw me put down is definitely my favourite. I think there's another one that I enjoy, just the arch on its own, that I used it in my Fox 3 Commons build. If you haven't watched that, I used it in that, paired with the fountain, and it looks lovely. And this is going to be my thing now, that I'm just going to make sure I use Romantic Garden a lot more whenever I'm doing landscaping. I'm using ivy from Vampire now. I just wanted to put some ivy around the front, just so the walls didn't look completely bare. And yeah, I think when in doubt, if you ever have like empty walls on the outside and you don't know what to put on them, you just put ivy or cracks. Ivy or cracks. I put window boxes in as well. Ivy, cracks, or window boxes, that's what you put on the walls on the outside, in my opinion. Yeah, putting the flower box and the trash in, and we're coming to the end. So I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, if you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll be back on Wednesday with another build, so I'll see you then. Goodbye.